Hello there. I'm just reading this from the Sky News website. The Crown Prosecution Service has said it is considering whether to bring further criminal charges over the deaths of babies at hospitals where Lucy Letby worked. The CPS said it had received a, quote, full file of evidence from Cheshire Constabulary, asking us to consider further allegations in relation to deaths and non-fatal collapses of babies at the Countess of Chester Hospital and Liverpool Women's Hospital. The quote continues, "We will now," this is the CPS, "carefully consider the evidence to determine whether any further criminal charges should be brought," it added. Subsequent quote from them, "As always, we will make that decision independently." Yeah, right. "Based on the evidence and in line with our legal test." And then it goes on to reiterate, but it just mentions that it's looking at two periods of time in relation to, stipulating 2 periods of time in relation to Liverpool Women's Hospital, where Lucy Letby carried out 2 work placements between October and December 2012 and January and February 2015. And the police say that, and we knew this, didn't we, that in December, Lucy Letby was interviewed in prison as part of the investigation. That's just disgusting, isn't it? Cheshire Constabulary. Sorry, it gets worse and worse, doesn't it? But none of it's unexpected. It's just what you'd expect these creatures to do. Cheshire Constabulary spokesperson said, quote, "We can confirm that Cheshire Constabulary has submitted a full file, of evidence to the CPS for charging advice regarding the ongoing investigation into deaths and non-fatal collapses of babies at the neonatal units of both Countess of Chester Hospital and the Liverpool Women's Hospital as part of Operation Hummingbird." Oh God, and then it just talks about the arrests in relation to suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter of 3 managers, former managers. So that's it. That's what they're doing. Are we surprised by this? No, not really. One question I wondered about is whether, some of these are some of those. Is there a crossover between some of these ones that they've sent in this full file of evidence to the CPS? So is there a crossover? Well, I'm assuming there must be, because where else is it going to originate from? It's Evans still. It's still Evans, isn't it? These are some of the 25 or 2 multiples of 25 extra so-called cases that he or incidents, cases, incidents, events that he stated, Evans, in various newspaper reports across various periods of time that he sent to Cheshire Police, and that previously I'd heard nothing more about them, but now they're moving on them. So in other words, he told Rachel Aviv that subsequent to the first arrest, he'd sent a further 25 quote-unquote cases that he was concerned about, Evans, that is, and that also, according to Dr. Phil Hammond, he had also sent 25 cases to the police in 2024, I think it would have been. Now I'm getting the years mixed up here because it depends when it was, because Dr. Phil Hammond said Evans told him he did it the year before, and I think so it may have been 2023. So, but who knows with Evans, and who knows whether those 225s are the two. I've done videos about that, whether it's two lots for 25 or the same lot, or God knows. God knows what it is. God knows what has gone on between these sinister parties, the police and Evans and the CPS, you know. It's disgusting. Just feels, it's draining, isn't it? Because it's just it's disgusting. It's just what they... I saw a couple of commentaries about it, and a couple of commenters on some quite large channels sort of recognise that it's sort of strategy or underhand strategy, and a way to sort of block the... But both this, of course, now whether it leads to charges or not, whether the CPS go with it or not, would they submit them to the CPS if they weren't, quote unquote, sure that their friends in the CPS would say yes to them? If they do, and then there's an... oh no, it's just it's unbearable to think of. We're living in a monstrous country. In terms of the institutions, it's broken, it's sick and evil, and they're like gangsters, you know. They're vicious. They've got no respect for truth at all. None of them have. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about this, because as I saw it this morning, is that this isn't just coming solely from the police, I don't believe. You know, there's higher up overview on this, and they're being told to, now it's time to lay this card, now it's time to make this move, now it's time. Because of what? Because of the CCRC application, and because Julie and the panel have just devastated their prosecution's case. It's not, I don't think it's like, oh, it's the police trying to win this, you know, by using these underhand methods and throwing more charges at it. Not just them. Of course, they want that as well. But I think they're being instructed, and I think it's coming from much further back in the chain of power, or higher up in the chain of power, you know. And I think it's coming from the government or certain sources like that, you know. We'll never be able to trace it, because they're all so secretive and manipulative and Machiavellian. They're dark triad organisations, the police, CPS, government, dark triad organisations full of dark triad individuals, dark triad, you know, narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. As far as I think those are the three. That's the triad. If memory serves, and they tick every box. There we are. You know, saying yesterday, you know, are they just doing it as a kind of a way to that they don't have to bring it to anything? I think they probably do want to go all the way with it now. This has changed my mind a bit from yesterday. So in relation to the arrests, I think they'll go all the way for the managers, because it all fits with their fake narrative. It all fits with their fake persecution, you know, and they've got to stick with that, because they're evil, and there's no other word for it. They're evil. They're evil. And instead of accepting, not their mistakes, accepting what the evil that they've done, they'll just do more evil to cover it up. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's horrific. It's horrific. We need... I don't know how we do it. How do we do it? How do we get rid of them all? How do we start again? How do we start again and build up decent institutions, you know? How do we do that? They've got to go, though. The ones that are there, they've got to go. They can't be improved. You know, they can't be improved. They can't be revamped with an expensive inquiry, and now we've learnt lessons now. We've learnt lessons. They don't want to learn any lessons. They're not in the business of learning lessons when it's about their despicable behaviour. They don't want to learn lessons about that, ever. Anyway, I'll leave it there. It's just a bit, it's sickening, it's contemptuous and vile, but that's them. That's them, the police, as a body, as a whole, as a power, as a whole, as an instrument of power. The CPS as an instrument of power, which will be used to avoid going for people that the establishment want to protect at certain times, but will destroy innocence at the drop of a hat and double down on it, triple down on it, quadruple down on it. It's utterly sickening, and it's got to be. I better leave it there before I say something that's... Anyway, take care. Bye-bye.